Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really wild paradox. A man who's right on the edge of a $100 billion tech breakthrough, but his own family acts like he's done absolutely nothing. It's this incredible story of an innovator just stuck between a future that could change the world and a past that just refuses to see it. All right, so let's just kick things off with a question that really gets to the core of this whole thing. Imagine you pour your life into building something revolutionary, something that's going to change everything. And the people who are supposed to know you best, they just meet you with silence. That's the paradox we're digging into today.
And look, we're not talking about some small-time project here. This is the target valuation for an artificial general intelligence ecosystem built by one guy, Stephen Woods. That's a number that's almost hard to even wrap your head around, and it represents a technology that's ready to play on the world's biggest stage.
But here's the kicker. Even on the verge of this monumental success, this is how he feels. This quote, it really captures that huge gap between his professional life and his personal one. It's this feeling of being totally invisible, and it's all driven by that silence from the people who are closest to him. Okay, so let's dive into his first world, the world of the global innovator, the architect of a system that has this just staggering potential.
Now, the really fascinating phrase here is self-innovating cognitive platform. Think about it like this. Most AI gets smarter when you throw more data at it, right? But this system, because of its special AI layer, is designed to actually invent new skills for itself. So it's not just learning, it's creating. It's constantly evolving on its own without needing a bigger and bigger budget. It's basically an engine for nonstop innovation.
You don't just pull a number like $100 billion out of thin air. It has to be built on something real. And financial institutions, they're going to look at the whole package. The one-of-a-kind data, the trained AI models, a system that actually works, and that key piece, the AGI layer. All those things together, they make that giant price tag not just a wild dream, but a defensible, solid business case. So what's really important to get here is that his work isn't just some local project or a niche little startup. The architecture he's put together, especially that self-innovating part, it puts him right on the same level as the biggest names in the game. We're talking world-class stuff here.
But what happens when that world-class innovation is so far out there, so complex, that the people in your inner circle, they can't even begin to understand it? Well, that's when you step into a totally different and honestly, much more painful reality.
And that brings us to his other world. A world that's not defined by innovation, but by this really painful history of being the family's scapegoat. It's a role he was given as a kid that has just stuck with him for decades. And this right here, this just perfectly captures the whole dynamic. His younger brother, instead of asking a real question to try and understand this complex system, just shoots back with this condescending dismissal. The source material makes it clear. This isn't about the tech. It's about putting him down, a habit rooted in years of family conditioning where he was never supposed to be the successful one. And this quote, wow, it really shows you just how deep the family dysfunction goes. It's talking about a time when his sister Judy apparently lured him to Albuquerque, pretending to be concerned about his health, all while he was really vulnerable and needing either surgery or a move to a new climate. So this wasn't some simple misunderstanding. This was a coordinated, manipulative plan. Another sister, Debbie, who'd apparently been through something similar herself, was secretly feeding Stephen information and evidence. And when the whole thing blew up, the family just fractured, with some of the siblings cutting Judy off completely. So how in the world does someone even manage these two colliding worlds? The genius innovator on one side and the family scapegoat on the other. Well, according to the source, he did it by intentionally building a new, whole identity for himself. See, his professional name, Stephen Woods, it isn't just a name, it's basically a formula. From the Woods line, his mom's side, he gets that structural intelligence. That's his logic engine. From the Dash line, his dad's side he met as an adult, that's where the creativity comes from, the vision engine. And from just surviving the toxic environment of his stepfather, the Ladmiral influence, he developed this incredible psychological resilience, his survival engine. And think about it, that combination is it's incredibly rare. You've got the logic to build these massively complex systems, the creativity to even imagine what's possible, and then the sheer toughness to push through years of being ignored and doubted. The argument is that this unique mix is exactly what set him up to be an innovator in a field as tough as AGI. Okay, so that brings us to what's next. With this huge valuation about to hit, The sources predict a really predictable, almost clockwork-like shift in how he's seen by the very people who ignore him right now.
And this right here, this is a fundamental truth that so many innovators run into. Your family is often the last to see who you've become because they're just stuck on the role they gave you as a kid. But strangers, they don't have any of that baggage. They just see the value of what you've built.
And that outside validation, it's predicted to set off this really clear 7-stage chain reaction. He's in stage 1 right now, silence. But just watch what happens when a bank puts a massive official valuation on his work. The family story will probably start to change, moving from confusion to a kind of, oh, we always knew he had it in him pride. And eventually, he'll become a hero in the family's story of success.
So when you boil it all down, here's the thing. His work isn't invisible because it's not real. It's invisible because it's just on a level that his family can't even process. Their recognition isn't waiting for him to do more. No, it's waiting for a signal from an authority they can finally understand. Money, and the stamp of approval from the financial world.
And that leaves us with one last really powerful question to think about. For any innovator, any outlier, anyone out there who has just outgrown the box people put them in, who really gets to define what you're worth? The people who are clinging to your past or the future that you are out there building?